And that's French really for if everybody else is doing it, then it's non-competitive. And if it's non-competitive, we don't owe for it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Airing of Grievances. Happy December of 2024. It is, wow, Rob, it's hard to believe, but the year is almost over, and I'm not ready. How about you?
Not even close.
All right. So, folks, please bear with us with the audio on this. I'm going to do my very best to clean it up in the post. But as you can tell, Rob and I are in two different locations again, and this will be kind of the way that it goes for the next, at least foreseeable future. But let me give you a quick update, because as many of you know, I am out here in Arkansas, helping my family through a couple of medical situations, and both my brother-in-law and my nephew are doing great. That's all I'm really at liberty to say, but I want you to know we are grateful for your prayers and for all those who reached out and said nice things of support over the last couple of weeks. And with that being the case, it is Saturday morning. That means it's time for another episode of the Airing of Grievances. That's Robert Grieve. I'm Eric Reamer, and we like to start our Saturday mornings with you by sharing a cup of coffee. Cheers, Rob. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday to you and to everybody else tuning in. Thanks so much for your patience with this. We'll do the best we can.
Absolutely. All right. And with that being said, Rob, we have a doozy for them. We teased this a couple of weeks ago, and we're bringing it today. The largest insurer in the country has decided to use the finest tooth comb to nitpick one of their insureds and our guests, and
yeah, it's exhausting.
It really is. So I'm going to turn it over to you. Go ahead and tell us a story.
So, this is really, FYI for your information, what's going on behind the scenes in some cases, and what insurers are willing to go through to not pay the claim properly. And these are great lengths. And I'm going to show you the document in a second. But before I do that, I want to set it up a little bit. This is on a brand new Toyota Prius with right around 4,000 miles on it.
Wow.
It's bad enough it's not a drivable vehicle, so it's sitting here. I'm going to show you what the guest made a complaint to the Department of Insurance in Colorado, and the insurance company responded. So I'm going to kind of walk you through the response a little bit.
All right, but before we get to that, made a complaint about whom to the DOI?
The insurance company. Because there is at this point, I think 6,000-ish difference between the correct repairs and what the insurance company wants to do.
I see. Okay. And so they filed a complaint with the DOI, and of course that's called different things in different states. So look it up, but it's basically your Department of Insurance.
And they sent an inquiry off to this insurance company, and the insurance company replied. So before I show you the reply, which is going to be breathtaking, I'm warning you ahead of time. What each of these bullet points contain are words like non-competitive, not an operation needed, not required to repair, or a combination of them.
Okay.
These replies. So, are you ready?
I think so. All right, let me buckle up here. All right.
Okay.
Hit me with your best shot.
So it starts here at the bottom, this little bottom section right here. So that's 2 bullet points right there.
Okay.
Okay? So we won't even count that page as a page.
Okay.
This will be page 1.
Wow. Those are bullet points?
Yeah. This will be page 2. This will be page 3. This will be page 4. This will be page 5.
Whoa.
And this will be page 6.
6 pages of single-spaced bullet points with heck no, we won't pay.
Yes. So the one thing that is really important, and I'm going to read off these things again: non-competitive, not an operation needed, or not required to repair. The first one, important thing, non-competitive. Because in this policy, they only owe what's competitive in the marketplace. So if, and that's French really for, if everybody else is doing it, then it's non-competitive. And if it's non-competitive, we don't owe for it.
That's very good neighborly of them.
Yes. So I want to go through some of these, and I'm certainly not going to go through all of them. And the reason I'm not going to go through all of them is because there's 127 bullet points. It's exhausting just to read. Forget about think about replying to it.
If we talked about it, 1 bullet point per 30 seconds, we'd be here for an hour.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I want to talk about some of them to give you a flavor for what they're doing. Now, keep in mind, this is a response to the Department of Insurance for the consumer. So this went to the Colorado Department of Insurance.
From the insurer.
From the insurer. And so the very first bullet point, it says, and I'm just going to read it, Nylund's Collision Center wrote for car cover for priming at $6.02 of an hour, that's 12 minutes, at body labor. This is non-competitive for the market. We approved an additional car cover mask for primer at $5.02. That leaves exactly $1 difference between what we had on our estimate and what they feel is in the market. And that took up a whole bullet point. If that gives you any flavor to what's happening.
I think you just jumped out of the frying pan into the fire.
And there's many, many more like that. But I want to talk about some of the things, some of the verbiage that they use, like this. Nylund's Collision Center wrote for a sublet charge for SRS airbag inspections. That's your supplemental restraint system. For $230, which is what we would pay the dealer to do them, because we send it to the dealer to have those done. The loss-related damages did not include any airbag deployment, and no supplemental restraint system codes were present with any pre-repair scan document. We declined this line entry. This is a Toyota procedure, Toyota Lexus. It's entitled Supplemental Restraint Systems Airbag Precautions. And in here on the second page, it says, If the vehicle has been involved in a minor collision where SRS, supplemental restraint system airbags, did not deploy, the airbags and pretensioners should be inspected before further use of the vehicle. So, they don't feel as though that needs to be done, even though Toyota Lexus does. Now, keep in mind that's in a Toyota document. This is not the first time that we've brought this up as a needed operation, and it is not the first time they've denied it. They have the same access to that document that everybody in the world has. Go on, pay the subscription to access the Toyota documents, and you can pull up that thing just as easy as can be. But I don't know if they did that or not, but be that as it may, they are on this brand new car not going to do the SRS inspections that are required. So we're going to move fast here because there's a lot to go over, and I'm only going to hit half a dozen or so spots.
All right.
The very next line says Nylund's Collision Center wrote for mountain balance of a wheel for $30. This cost is non-competitive for the market, and we approved mountain balance of the wheel for $25.
$5 differential.
So $5. That took a whole line. Moving down here. Nylund's Collision Center wrote to place the vehicle in customer mode for 0.3 of an hour at mechanical labor rate. This is non-competitive per the market, and we declined this line entry. What that means is this car is brand new and has what we call telematics.
Yep.
So anything that gets unplugged or malfunctions, or, I mean, the computers don't know why a headlight all of a sudden is not working, or why the door ajar switch is on, or anything along that line. They just know that there's something going on.
Right.
And these trouble codes are sent to the consumer. If they have the app, they're sent to the dealer, so the dealer can notify the consumer that something's wrong, and they are sent to the manufacturer, so the manufacturer knows that something's going wrong. And we turn this off, and it says right here in this Toyota document, titled Telematics System Precautions. Before servicing, enter service mode to restrain telematics communication functions and prevent the following while servicing: remote door lock and unlock operations, remote engine start and stop operations, and warning notifications functions. Here's the most important thing for everybody, my people and everybody else. Let's just say you're the consumer of the car, and your insurance agent says, hey, I need to know what the mileage is on the car. And you say, hey, I got this nifty app. I can just go into the app, power up the car, and it'll tell me what the mileage is on. But what if one of my people is under the car or in harm's way?
Yeah.
It could be catastrophic. So we disengage that. But this particular insurance company doesn't feel as though that's competitive. So
And we're talking about 18 minutes.
Yeah. The one thing that's really important here is we've got 127 bullet points of these types of things. If it is not in the market, if 127 of these are not in the market or not an operation needed or not required to repair decided by the insurer, how are cars getting fixed today?
Improperly.
How are the other shops that apparently are not charging any of these things, or theoretically doing any of these things? How's your car getting fixed if it isn't at somebody that is focused on these types of things? So just keep that in mind real quick. We go down a little bit further and it says Nylund's Collision Center wrote to remove electronics within 18 inches for 0.4 at body rate. This is non-competitive for the market, and we declined this line entry.
Yeah, we've heard this before.
Clearly it says always, not sometimes, always observe the following electric welding precautions. This vehicle is going to have a new quarter panel put on, and it's welded on, and we use electrical welding to weld it on. And this clearly says remove any ECUs within 18 inches of the weld sites and disconnect the main SRS computer connector.
Yeah, well, we've had this conversation and actually won the day on this conversation.
Yes. And so it said you have to disconnect the SRS module. That's another line item in this 127 lines that they said was not competitive. And what that means to me, unless somebody might be lying, that other people aren't doing it or aren't charging for it. And that's a problem for you, the consumer.
Absolutely.
Or you take your car. Moving down a little bit further, it says Nylund's Collision Center wrote for 3M 8115 panel bond adhesive. So that's a structural adhesive. And that structural adhesive is needed in a certain portion of the wheel opening when attaching the new quarter panel, because that quarter panel is welded and bonded. And they say that that is non-competitive for the market, and we declined this line entry. If you look at this, and I don't know how to get it any closer, I wrote a circle around it and the highlighted area. This is the procedure for installing the quarter panel. It says apply adhesive 3M panel bonding adhesive 8115. It's right there. But that is not competitive in the marketplace, and apparently people aren't doing that. And this thing just goes on and on and on. Static seatbelt safety inspections, dynamic seatbelt safety inspections. These are designed and require road testing to make sure that each seatbelt operates as designed. Sometimes when a vehicle predicts that it might be in an accident, it will cinch the seatbelt. The only way to know really is to take a look at these things and make sure that they're operating as designed. You know, the safety inspections are not competitive for the market, and we decline the line entries. No problem. These are one of my favorites. Nylund's Collision Center wrote to remove and install the left rear seal as an included operation. This is not required to repair loss-related damages, and we declined this line entry. There's 3 of those in a row. We included it. The system included it. There was no charge for it. It's a zero value. But they took up 3 lines to say that it was not repair loss-related damages, and it declined the line entry, even though it's 0.
Now you're just getting pissy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Another cool one. Nylund's Collision Center wrote to remove and install the HV service disconnect grip. This is a high voltage vehicle. We don't work on these vehicles unless we disengage the key that'll stop that electricity through the big orange cables that could kill somebody.
It's common sense.
So just a few more items that I want to talk about here. This is a list of what they sent to the Department of Insurance. It becomes misleading when over 20 of the items in this list they already agreed to in subsequent supplementals. So there have been 3 supplements. Let me get to my first page. They initially wrote this car for $3,570 to repair it. After disassembling it and putting together the correct repair plan on it, we were at $17,000. So we submitted that $17,000. They came back out and looked at it and added another $4,000 the first time. And that within that $4,000 included a lot of the items on this list. If that's the case, why are they on the list?
Right.
Were they not competitive at the time and now they are? Or why would you be telling the department all these issues when you've already agreed to many of them?
It sounds to me like it's the schoolyard bully trying to distract the attention of the principal from their own wrongdoing by suggesting that the victim, or in this case, the perpetrator of the correct repair plan, is at fault in some way, shape, or form, even though they acknowledged their error by $4,000, which we could make another video just about that, how they were $4,000 off of their original.
On the very first supplement, and they looked at the card here the first time, but it wasn't disassembled. Not that you couldn't see what was going to need to be done, but let's just say, so supplement 1, they came out and looked at it, $4,000, $4,004. Supplement number 2 added another $3,035. And supplement number 3 added another $662. So now, instead of it being the original $3,500, they're at $11,000. And we're at 17. Ours never changed. Theirs seems to incrementally change. And there's many things that we have supporting. It doesn't matter if you have supporting documentation. It matters if it's popular, if other shops are doing it and charging for it. And if they're not, then they don't know for it.
Let me clarify for our viewers. When Rob says it's not important if it's included in the documentation, it's only important if it's popular. He's talking about the prevailing attitude of the insurer and their preferred shops that agree not to fight this cause because the insurers feed them more business. Wow.
You know, that certainly could be part of it, but there is this has got so many arms and legs to it, and so many different ways to approach it, and it's so sad. Here's what I have for you folks. This person is probably going to have to sue the person that hit them in order to get paid properly for an accident, to get their car repaired properly. because these people aren't going to change their mind. And the Department of Insurance has no jurisdiction to tell them you have to. So here's what you need to know. The policy you buy is incredibly important. If this were any other insurer in Colorado other than this one, there would be an appraisal clause, and we've spoke about this many, many times, in the policy that covers vehicles that need to be repaired,
Right.
as opposed to vehicles that are deemed a total loss. This company has it if the vehicles are deemed a total loss and you and them disagree on the value of the vehicle.
But this is a brand new vehicle, and so it doesn't qualify for the total loss.
Well, it doesn't qualify, but it's repairable. And they don't have language that talks about a repairable. And anytime they can deem something non-competitive, the policy then kicks in and says they only owe for what's competitive. The question is that right, wrong, moral, or, whatever the case may be? But this is the largest property and casualty insurer in America. You cannot argue with them. They're going to pay what they want. They're going to write these letters. They're going to call it all non-competitive, even though 22 of those items they listed as non-competitive, they changed their mind and paid for throughout SUP 1, 2, and 3. So probably more to come on this thing, but making sure you have the right policy to begin with is critical, and that policy contains the appraisal clause. If it doesn't, this is what you're going to have to go through. Because guess what? This person can't go through their own policy. I mean, they can, but it's the same insurer.
Yeah, you're right. They're going to end up having to sue if they want to be made whole.
Yeah, this is what insurers are willing to go through. I mean, 7 pages or 6 pages of nonsense, some of it what I call non-material. If you talk about something that's $1 difference and I'm out of the market over $1, what do you do?
Yeah, and unfortunately, so many people buy this insurance policy because they do the most advertising with the most famous quarterbacks and coaches, and tell you to do ballet with Bundelay and Save, and it's all a bunch of words until you need to be made whole, and they say no on 127 lines.
Yeah.
In some cases, just to spite you.
I would say this is ludicrous, but only ludicrous decides what's ludicrous.
That's true, and he's all out on this conversation.
Yep.
Well,
anyway, I have for today. We may talk more about this in the future because there's certainly more to come. But just from behind the scenes peek at what's going on. By the way, the same day I got this, I got another one on a different guest that is just as extensive. So it's crazy.
It is crazy. But if you've made it this far through the video, thank you. If you haven't done it yet, would you please hammer that thumbs up, click the subscribe button, click the notify bell so that you're notified every time we send out another video. And of course, if it's 9:30 a.m. in the Mountain Standard Time on a Saturday morning, we're going to be right here chatting live with you, and we're grateful for you. Rob, thanks for bringing this. Hey, happy Saturday to you, brother man.
Happy Saturday to you and my dear friends. Happy Saturday to you. Thanks for sticking with us, and I will look forward to seeing you next week. God bless. Have an amazing week.